YouTube, what's going on? I'm going to give you guys kind of just like an overview of the layout. I'll talk a little bit about how I made it, what I used to make it, what I like about it, what I don't like about it. First thing I want to say, the static grass applicator was so worth it. I mean, this stuff looks amazing compared to anything that I've done in the past without it. That's just so cool, man. And I only paid like $40 for it shipped. So they're not all that much, and it came with enough static grass to do a couple of layouts, although the grass it came with was kind of dark and the grass that I had was a lighter color, so I kind of mixed them. So you can see like this section here was kind of a blend of the two, and this section here was just the one color I had. You can see where it's darker, that's kind of where it's mixed, plus the grass they sent was a little bit taller. All right, well, I'll start at it because there's a lot to cover here. If you follow me on Instagram, I pretty much posted the entire progress of this. It all started with this bridge. Now, the white stripes on the roads need to be redone, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. But it started with this bridge, which I made out of craft sticks. And that's kind of what started the whole thing. I saw a video on Luke Towan's channel where he did a bridge, and he had a dirt road and a train track going underneath it. And I was like, that's kind of a cool idea. Maybe I could do something like that with an overpass. And I don't do trains, so I just, I just do this for the diecast. So I bought some craft sticks. They're ridiculously inexpensive at Walmart, all different kinds. And I just started, I didn't even draw a design out. I just started cutting and gluing. And I'll see if I can, I don't know how good this is going to show up because I can't see it. I don't know if that's even showing up, but hopefully it is. I won't even know till I watch this back. But so that's what started it. And then I knew I had an idea of what I was going to do. So then I got some materials together. These boards, it's 2 feet wide by 2 feet deep. They're like $10 at Home Depot. And you might even be able to find them for less. The joint compound is $5 at Walmart. The grout is $5 at Home Depot. And I would definitely recommend using grout. That's something that is new for this layout that I haven't done before. So I got all the supplies together. I figured out on the bridge, when I had it planned out before I started the build, I had that a full inch higher than it is, which is way incorrect for scales. So this layout is a combination of HO scale and S scale. So as an example, the gas station is an HO scale building, but it works. It's not too small. It's just a small gas station. The height of the bridge is 3 inches from the road, and that is 16 S scale feet. So your average overpass is 16 feet. So that is pretty scale accurate to Hot Wheels. Anything larger or smaller, it'll be a little bit off. But anything that's 1:64 scale, that the height of the overpass is pretty accurate. Now, I have had a couple people ask me about the gas station, about how it's kind of weird that people can't pull through, and I get that, but this is a 1950s era gas station. So just think of it as it's out of service. Some guy's using it for an auto shop. I've thought about removing the gas pumps just so people stop asking me that question, because it's actually very common that people say that. I've had, and some people are cool about it. Other people are like rude about it. So there's that. But the big difference, there's a lot of big differences. Basically, every technique that I used in this build came from Luke Towan. The static grass, the grout, even the way I did like blending all of the grass with the dirt, although he does a much better job. I don't think that's so much that I did a poor job. I think I didn't sift the material properly. I should have used a finer material, but it's okay. This is a more wooded scene than I was hoping it would be. I was kind of hoping for more of a like an urban, or not urban, but suburban, like not rural but not urban, somewhere in between type of a scene. And it's hard to capture all of that with only 4 square feet. So I tried to fit as much visual interest in this as I could for, with the space available. And I knew I was going to have the bridge, and as the build progressed, I early on decided that I would use the gas station. Because I also have a little car dealership building, and that'll probably be my next layout. But this layout here I will keep. I'm not ever going to get rid of it. I have approximately 35 hours of work into it, so it's very time consuming, but it's very therapeutic. And like there was never a time when I was working on it that I was frustrated or tired of it or anything like that. I enjoyed it from the very beginning to the very end. Like even when I got done putting the trees in, I'm like, wow, this sucks, I'm done. But the cool thing is now I can start making videos on it, so that's kind of cool. Another thing that I did very different on this layout that I haven't done before is I elevated the road. So on any previous layout that I've done, the road has been flush with the rest of the layout. On this one, I elevated it with just some cardboard, and that's my only mistake, is using cardboard. I will never do that again. I would either do like a foam board or even just wood, just like a real thin balsa wood or something like that. So I think it's good that I elevated it, but it's bad that I did it with cardboard, because the cardboard, it gets wet from anything wet that you put on the layout, and you do put a lot of water on the layout with the glue and the alcohol. There's a ton. I used 1/4 of a bottle of isopropyl alcohol on this build just to glue everything together. So there's a lot of water that goes down into this board, which is why it will warp a little bit. This one is a little bit warped, but it'll also find its way to the cardboard, which will cause like a ripple effect. I had to get a couple of coats of the drywall spackle because it kept cracking, and you can see there is a crack, which that's okay. I'll probably take a felt tip to that and highlight it. There is another area somewhere over here that was really bad. Maybe it's not quite as noticeable now, but so I would recommend elevating your road, though. It's a lot more accurate to reality. So, as a car pulls out, they're pulling up onto the road, and as they're pulling off of the road, they're pulling down. So I find that to be a more accurate setup. Same thing on this side with this little trail. the Bronco will pull its way up. I'm not done. I'm going to get a tree here. There's a particular tree that I want to get that Hobby Lobby has. So I have a couple of Easter egg things that I'm going to do that I think will be kind of cool. I'm not going to talk about them. I may never even tell you. I may just do them and see if you ever notice them. But I'm going to eventually plaster this all the way across because these joints are so... There's huge major eyesores. And I think they take away a lot from how cool that could look if it didn't have those. But I plan on doing some lighting underneath the bridge. So I'm just going to wait on that. I don't know if you guys can see underneath there, but another thing, I made this chain link fence. That's a scratch-made fence. It's a little out of scale. The wooden dowels that I used are a little bit too big, so I might make another one. I have plenty of that mesh material. I could make fences for days with the amount of material that I have. But I might get some, either some, you know, even those brass rods at Hobby Lobby. I could use those and just paint them. They would probably look a lot better. And I put this fence here. I know it looks a little bit out of place, but I built the chain link fence and I built the split rail fence from scratch. And I wanted to incorporate both of them, but I didn't think the chain link fence looked as good with the gas station as the split rail fence did. So I think this one just works a lot better with the gas station. And it was super easy to build. It's super sturdy. I mean, it'll come down if I knock it hard enough, but you know, as long as I'm careful with it, it should be good. I do need to go through and clean up. You can see where some static grass and probably some other foliage made its way onto the fence. But I think the overall detail of the fence, considering I didn't do anything except measure, cut, glue, and I painted it with a wash. But I've had split rail fences in my yards growing up, and I think this does a really good job replicating that look. And it's just a minimal amount of work. I mean, this fence here was much easier to build than this fence. I don't know if I'd say much easier, but it was easier. What else did I want to talk about? Some of the things I don't really like about the layout. All of the blending material, anywhere you see grass separated from dirt, or anywhere you see edges of dirt. Like over here, I think it looks okay. Right here, because I think that's a pretty natural look. But on areas like this, where you would think with grass this clean, you would think a dirt road like this would be a little bit more cleaned up. Same thing with this. I just think the scale of the material was too big. I didn't sift it down fine enough. But I do love the way the static grass came out. I think it really looks good, even though it's a lot shorter than I was hoping for. I think it really does look good. And there's a lot of good angles to work with if I'm ever doing a diecast video with a ton of cars. I have plenty of space to set the cars down, because I can certainly set a whole bunch of them down up here out of the way. A lot of this material that I bought was discounted heavily at Hobby Lobby, like these trees. I only ended up using 2 packages of these trees, so I think there's 16 of them. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, there's 16 of these trees, and I think I paid like $5 for all 16 of them. And I still have another 16 that I can use on another layout. I have enough material with trees and everything to easily do another layout, so I do plan on doing that. I don't know when, but probably not anytime soon. I will probably wait until it cools off to do that one. This one here, I just got too antsy to do. So I guess the last thing to really talk about is the grout. I will use a lighter color the next time I do a layout, because this color, it's a good earth tone. Here's the natural color of the grout back here. So it's a good earth tone, but when you have static grass and nothing's blending the dirt to the static grass, you have to do something to blend them. The other thing too is, I don't know if you guys saw the pictures of this before I highlighted it, but it just, you could tell it was missing something, and the highlighting, I think, is really what made it pop. I think it's really what took it to the next level as far as giving it a more realistic look and making it pop. So it's not perfect. It's not even close. There's plenty of people on YouTube that do much better work than this, but for somebody like me who, this is the 7th layout that I've done, and I think if you go back to the beginning of my channel, every layout I've ever made has been featured on the channel. I think you can definitely see a progression, with the exception of the last layout that I was using. I think that one was a step back. But I am happy with this overall. I think it'll make a nice backdrop for reviewing diecast, and that's the whole point of it. So yeah, back over here we just have a rock outcropping, some rock foliage, some grass, and then just a little dirt area there on the side. You would see buildings like this in Colorado up in the mountains, you know, that are just like in a little cutout of a mountain. So I think that's where a lot of my inspiration comes. But I think on my next one with the car dealership, I'm really going to try for a more urban look. Less dirt and more pavement. Let's see here. So I guess another thing to talk about would be the retaining walls. This one over here is just made out of craft sticks and then painted with a wash. I probably should have brought it down this way a little bit more, and maybe even brought it in a little bit, angled it in, but I didn't really think about doing that. And then this one here is just like your everyday concrete retaining wall that you see everywhere. I see these everywhere, or this style of retaining wall. And I think that's pretty much it. The bridge was easy enough to build. I think anybody should be able to do one of these. All you need is craft sticks, scissors, Gorilla wood glue is what I used. But even a hot glue gun or something like that would work. And then some paint. There's a lot of really good how-to videos on YouTube. The channels that I would recommend if you're looking at doing something like this. Obviously, my first choice is Luke Towan. It's Luke, and then the last name is Towan. The guy is in Australia, and his layouts, in my opinion, are the best on YouTube by far. There's another guy that I've recently gotten into. His name is Marklin of Sweden. MarklofSweden. That guy's pretty funny in a weird way. and he does great work as well. So those are the two channels where I draw a lot of my inspiration from. But this design, this setup was definitely inspired by Luke Towan from the video he did with his bridge. So I think that's going to wrap up this video. If you guys have any questions about it, just leave them below. One other thing, I'm looking for somebody, if any of you can help me with this. I'd like to change this sign. I'd like to customize that. I would like to paint this white and then have it say like Heavy Metal 164 or Heavy's Place or something like that. So if any of you have the ability to print water slide decals or even like a real thin cardstock, let me know, because that's something I'd be interested in. I'd trade you a car or something like that. I made this sign because the sign that it came with was only about this tall. Wasn't very tall, and it was just all white plastic, so I painted this one a little bit, tried to weather it a little bit, and then I made the pole with a wooden dowel, and I cut the sign off of the other pole. I originally had it glued onto this, and then it obviously didn't stay, but that's okay. That can stay there. I don't think it's too much of an eyesore. I might paint the top of it off, but it's glued down so tight I don't want to pull it up because a bunch of stuff will come up with it. But the pole here I just mounted into the ground, and I think it looks way better on this because this pole looks old. Looks like it's been there for a long time. It's kind of weathered. And I put it back there. I was going to put it out here, but when I'm doing videos and I'm going to be moving the camera around, that's why there are no trees up here for that reason. That's why there are no trees here, because I need the mobility to move the camera around. But I am going to put a tree here, and then that'll be the last tree. Let's see, what else? I was thinking about putting a mailbox here. I just don't know if I'm going to build one or if I'm just going to use the green light one. But I don't really know why I decided to come out this way with the fence rather than taking it all the way to the street. I don't know why I did that. I think subconsciously I was thinking about keeping all of this area open because I knew my camera angle was going to be from back here. So I think that's why I did that. And then when I did it, I thought, yeah, you know, because I could put the sign pole here and maybe the mailbox here. So that was, I think, my line of thinking. I do have another little piece of chain link fence back there that I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. But that's it. I think that is a good overview, and yeah, feel free to comment below. You can see this is the outside of the area that I built up for the bridge. This will look so much better when I plaster all of that, because then I can repaint it. And the problem with these white lines is the paint pen that I used needs a new tip. And I got overzealous. I was eager. I got, you know how it is. You get overexcited. But anyways, that's it. That's the layout. And we will start looking at cars on this possibly tonight. I'm considering it. There are some cars I'd like to take a look at and photograph. So yeah, I'm going to go grab some cars. And we'll see how this thing looks with some nice die cast on it. But thanks for checking it out. And like I said, leave your thoughts below. Comments, questions, suggestions, anything like that. And I'll holler at you guys at the next video with some die cast.